For over a century, a tradition of intercollegiate athletic excellence has been strong in central Nebraska. This is an inside look at that tradition. This is the University of Nebraska Kearney Loper Review. Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef, from our family to yours.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Loper Review. I'm your host, Randy Bushcutter, with a behind-the-scenes look at Loper athletics here at the University of Nebraska at Kearney. This month, we take a look at the blossoming professional career of a former Loper volleyball All-American. We'll shine our senior spotlight on yet another volleyball player. And we'll give you a colorful look at two big-time summer events for the Lopers. And we'll have our last lecture from Professor Kelsey on MIAA 101. And we hope you've been taking some notes along the way, because Professor Kelsey does have a finals for us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do that and a whole lot more coming up next here on Loper Review.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
Programming is made possible in part by the Museum of Nebraska Art in Kearney. From the artist explores through the modern era to the art of today, Mona tells the story of Nebraska through the art of Nebraska. Whether you're online at mona.unk.edu or on our doorstep, there's always something new to see and do.
You're watching the Nebraska Star Beef Loper Review.
Welcome back. You know, a handful of former UNK athletes have turned professional athletes and played in foreign countries. Currently, Arthur Hobbs is playing for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the Canadian Football League. Former Loper quarterback Jake Spitzelberger won a title when playing football in Germany. Dusty Jura played professionally basketball in both Australia and Spain. Well, now Kola Svek, a former All-American setter for the UNK volleyball team, has been working hard and has turned professional and is playing volleyball in Central Europe.
We got there at the beginning of February, and it was actually halfway through their season. So it was the middle of their season when we came, and then practiced for a couple weeks. And then we had 6 matches, 6 regular season matches, and then went into playoffs and played, I think, 3 matches throughout that. We played rounds of 3 as best 2 out of 3, and so we played in 2 different regional matches. Well, our coach spoke no English, so that was definitely an adjustment. Everything had to be translated to us. He was a great guy though, really liked him. And then just with everyday life, you know, adjusting, you walked everywhere, which we did have a car then, but for the most part, everybody walks everywhere. So it's much different than around here because everything's close. So just adjusting to little things, and the food there was amazing. So that was a good thing.
You know, I can remember playing in one of our very first tournaments down in Kansas City, and Danielle Schum came to watch us play, who was an unbelievable setter in her own right here. And the first thing she said to me after the match was, "I love your setter." And that was less than 10 matches into Cola's freshman season. So she hit the ground running and then just continued to have a tremendous career.
Kola had plenty of extra opportunities to learn from Coach Squires after being a Loper volleyball player for 4 years, because she was a graduate assistant for 2 more.
Well, one thing we knew for sure is that, especially with Jenna Rose having to step in behind Kola, and Jenna had tremendous respect for Kola, And she had the difficult task of being Cola's understudy for 2 years, which when you're a good player like Jenna, who was an eventual All-American herself, was difficult. But she had tremendous respect for Cola, and so we could just kind of turn Cola loose with our setters, and that was something that I really didn't have to concern myself with, and I could kind of move on and deal with other things in the program. So Cola's background in the setting position is just off the charts, and so we just kind of let her do what she needed to do with Jenna and the other setters in our program, and she did a great job with them, and obviously evidenced by the fact that Jenna went on to put 2 unbelievable seasons together herself. And in addition, she's just a good volleyball person as far as on the bench and seeing things on the court. I think Cola was an underrated defensive player, and so she understood volleyball defense really well, and she could help our players with that. So I mean, she's the kind of person who, even though she was a grad assistant, she had the volleyball background as somebody who was 30, 35 years old.
Even if Svek excels in Europe, the prospect for anything else close to home is rather limited.
I won't be going back there. I'm not sure what my plan is yet. I might go if I can find the right thing, but their season's 8 months long, 8 to 9 months. It's a long time to be away from home and everything like that. But if I could find another just like part job in the spring, I might do that.
I've been doing this long enough now that I've seen, different upstart leagues come and go, and somebody has a great idea and some sponsorship, and it looks like things might have a chance. And we've just seen a lot of things from the post-collegiate volleyball standpoint that just have not panned out. And so I think college players now, they know that most likely they're going to have to go overseas if they want to continue to play meaningful volleyball beyond college. There are a couple of things now kind of in the works again. One thing through USAV that looks like the concept itself has a chance to succeed, but yeah, I mean it's a little bit discouraging, especially given the fact that so many players play volleyball. And in the United States, from a women's sports standpoint, it has to rank near the top for popularity. And you would think that at some point, sponsors and people who make those sorts of things happen could recognize the marketability of the sport and get behind it and get something to go. But for now, you got to start out somewhere overseas, and hopefully that'll change in the future.
Working now for my parents, so I'm in sales, and then I'm actually going to coach the freshmen at Gretna. So they're here this week. Hopefully I get to meet some of them. And then otherwise you can still play club ball, you can have adult teams and stuff like that. So if I don't go back somewhere, we definitely want to get a team together, possibly play in some tournaments and stuff like that. So we're still playing competitive volleyball.
Well, we certainly wish Cola the best of luck in the future and hope that she can make it back to Kearney and help with UNK volleyball camps in the near future as well. Time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll shine our senior spotlight on volleyball once again when we sit down with Ariel Krolikowski. That's coming up next on Loper Review.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
programming is made possible in part by the Museum of Nebraska Art in Kearney. From the artist explores through the modern era to the art of today, Mona tells the story of Nebraska through the art of Nebraska. Whether you're online at mona.unk.edu or on our doorstep, there's always something new to see and do.
You're watching the Nebraska Star Beef Loper Review.
And welcome back. Time now to shine our senior spotlight on Ariel Krolikowski. Ariel has been busy on both the track and field teams as well as starring on the UNK volleyball team. She is a graduate of Grand Island Senior High, but didn't start her career directly at UNK after high school. She spent some time playing Division I volleyball at Louisiana Lafayette. And Ariel, we'll start with that. Tell us about your decision to leave Louisiana Lafayette and come play for the Lopers.
Well, it was hard, but it wasn't hard at the same time. I mean, when I came home from Christmas break, I just didn't want to go back, and so that helped a lot. And I knew I was going to miss the people that I'd met. I mean, they were really, really great people. The school was awesome, and so that factored in a little bit, but I knew I needed to be at UNK if I wanted to play at a higher level of volleyball. Even though it is Division II, I still thought it was a higher level of volleyball.
Higher than what you were kind of seeing at Lafayette?
Yeah, I know the first spring tournament I played in for UNK, we beat one of the Division I teams that we lost to when I was at Louisiana. So
there's a sign.
Yep.
Obviously, when you make a change like that, there's probably a moment that you kind of question whether or not you made the right decision. What gave you the confidence to know that you made the right decision to leave Lafayette and come to Kearney?
A lot of it was that first spring season. I mean, I felt comfortable on the team. I'd played with some of the girls in high school before. I'd seen most of the girls on the team before. And I just knew that, like, Coach Squires expected a lot out of me, and as did the girls, and I wanted to be able to live up to those expectations.
You would be one of the few people that we really can objectively ask this question to, and that is, compare for us playing Division I and Division II.
It's kind of hard because the Division I conference I was in for Louisiana, it wasn't as high level as, say, the Big Ten or the Big 12, but playing for Division II was a really high level, especially at UNK, and even transferring to the MIAA, I mean, that just upped, it was to the next level than the RMAC.
Unfortunately, this year for the volleyball team, injuries were a major factor through the course of the season, and obviously that impacts those that were injured. You were not, fortunately. What do those injuries do to the healthy players? How do you guys react to that?
Well, a lot of players just had to step up and, you know, fill those spots that we needed filled, and I think they did an excellent job for the time being, and we really appreciated that.
It's kind of a pipeline of volleyball players from Grand Island coming to UNK. There's Jenna Rose, Liz McGowan, yourself. What does that say about the quality of high school volleyball in Grand Island?
I think a lot of it was coaching. I mean, we have most of the coaches at Grand Island are the top coaches in the state of Nebraska, and that shows with just how many state championships and state tournaments we've all attended.
Is volleyball the sport for female athletes in Grand Island?
I wouldn't say it's the sport, but it's pretty high up on the list. I know Grand Island has been known to produce some great athletes for volleyball.
Your mom was a college athlete. She played volleyball over at Wayne State. How aware were you of her athletic ability, and how did that impact you?
Well, I knew both my parents were in athletics, and my mom was actually an assistant volleyball coach at Grand Island Senior High until my older sister's sophomore year. And so I was basically born in the gym. I mean, I lived in the gym when I was younger.
Safe to call you a gym rat?
Yeah.
You're not just a gym rat. You spent the last 4 years on the track and field team here at UNK as well. Talk about the decision to do both and how that went for you.
And it was really nice to compete in track again because, you know, I didn't finish my high school career the way I wanted it to finish. It was nice to get those extra 4 years in of track.
What was disappointing about your high school career?
Just some of the marks I had. You know, I wanted it to be a little bit higher, a little bit more meaningful to me, and it just wasn't, but you can't always end on a good meet.
Throughout your career on the volleyball team, you wore number 1. Is that number symbolic, or was it just the number you happen to be given?
As a kid, I've been wearing number 1 my whole entire life. I don't know why. I think it was just because I always wanted to be first in everything. If it was just a lineup to go to recess, I had to be first in line. So I just always have had number 1. Since I can remember.
Being number 1, does that put pressure on you, or did you feel comfortable because you always were number 1?
I think I felt comfortable just because that number had just stuck with me my whole life.
Talk a little bit about the future now. You've used up your athletic eligibility, but you have 1 more year of school left before you get a degree in interior design. What does the future hold for you, and why interior design?
Well, as a child, I was always, rearranging my room, trying to figure out different ways to lay it out, and I just felt like that decision, like to switch my major, that really affected it, because I knew that's what I wanted to do. When I thought about it, I was really excited, and I just wanted to be in that field.
Looking athletically to the future, there's really no professional volleyball here in the United States. There is some sand volleyball. Where do you see the future going for you with your athletic career?
Well, I know my friend and I from high school have talked about, playing in a sand volleyball league just during the summers, and even possibly during the year, just indoor leagues and things like that, just to stay active in the sport, because we both love it so much.
When you look back on things, what do you value most about your athletic career here at UNK?
Definitely the people and the experience. I mean, you don't meet these kind of people every single day. I mean, they're just once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and I have lifelong friends because of that.
Ariel, appreciate the time. Best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you.
It's time for us to take a quick break, and when we come back, summers are kind of quiet around the UNK campus, but there's a couple of events that's happened since the students have left that are kind of a pretty big deal. We'll take a look at those when we come back right after this.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
Programming is made possible in part by the Museum of Nebraska Art in Kearney. From the artist explores through the modern era to the art of today, Mona tells the story of Nebraska through the art of Nebraska. Whether you're online at mona.unk.edu or on our doorstep, there's always something new to see and do.
You're watching the Nebraska Star Beef Loper Review.
And welcome back. Well, this June, the UNK athletic program continued one of their long-standing traditions of the Blue Gold Golf Classic played during June. Also in June, the Shrine Bowl made its first ever appearance here at UNK, a tradition that we hope does continue. Well, we want to take a look at both of those events. We put together a little musical montage. That music is performed by the UNK Pride of the Plains Marching Band. Well, the Shrine Bowl will return in June of 2014 to Ron and Carol Cope Stadium over at Foster Field. The future, well, that's yet to be determined by the Shrine organization. We've determined that we need to take a quick break, and when we come back, our finals for MIAA 101. Sharpen those pencils. We'll be back right after this.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.
You're watching the Nebraska Star Beef Loper Review.
Welcome back. You know, it's been kind of a long semester, but it's been fun finding out about all the schools that make up the MIAA. Aha, not all the schools. We still have one school left, and Professor Kelsey will introduce us to Lincoln University and then the dreaded pop quiz.
For our final session of MIAA 101, we visit the state capital of Missouri, Jefferson City, to take a look at Lincoln University. Lincoln University was established shortly after the end of the Civil War, primarily by members of the 62nd United States Colored Infantry. And although it was designed to benefit African Americans, it became fully segregated in 1954. Scholastically, the school quickly evolved from what was essentially a trade school to become a normal school in just over a decade, and shortly after that became a state institution and a land-grant school. Athletically, the Lincoln teams are the Blue Tigers, and track and field is definitely the school's claim to fame. The Blue Tigers won an NCAA record 5 straight women's outdoor championships from 2003 to 2007 and have been the national runner-up for the past 4 years. This past year at the MIAA championships, the Tiger women won the conference title with a 100-point cushion over the runner-up. The men's team hasn't won a national team championship, but do have a special runner-up finish in the 2012 Outdoor Championships. When the Blue Tigers finished second behind Adams State that year, it was the first time in 30 years that neither Abilene Christian or St. Augustine finished in the top 2. Getting to Lincoln University is relatively simple. Head for Columbia, Missouri, and exit I-70 at Highway 63, and just stay on 63 until you're within a few blocks of the campus. If you want to take in some Missouri culture, 63 will take you within 4 blocks of the State Capitol building before you get to the Lincoln campus. And there you have it, our first complete semester of MIAA 101. But you didn't think you'd get out of here without a final, did you? I have a few questions for you before we go. Question 1. Name an MIAA member school that began as a women-only college. Question number 2. What MIAA member school had its campus severely damaged by a tornado? We'll give you a hint. It isn't Missouri Southern in Joplin. That campus was spared much of the damage during that city's tragic tornado. Question number 3. What MIAA school had faculty and staff involved in a grave robbing scandal nearly a century ago? Question number 4. What campus has the unique annual celebration known as Apple Day? And finally, spell Tahlequah, as in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, home of Northeastern State. For the answers, you'll have to join us for the premiere episode of the Loper Review 2013-2014 season, due out next month. Until then, thanks for joining us for this semester, and see you next time.
All right, thank you, Professor. And by the way, I get extra credit for spelling Tahlequah, right? At least I hope so. Well, with that, that'll wrap up our monthly edition of Loper Review, and not just for the month, but for the season. But before we go, we'd like to thank UNK Athletic Director John McBride. Simply put, Loper Review would not be a reality if it was not for his vision and initiative. Unfortunately, Mr. McBride is stepping down as Loper Athletic Director for health reasons. He was on the job the past decade, and the list of his accomplishments for the department over his tenure are impressive. He'll remain associated with UNK Athletics and what is best described as a consultant for special projects. And we certainly wish the best for him and his family in the future. Well, that does wrap things up for this entire season of Loper Review. We'll be back again this fall. Until then, see ya, and go Lopers.
Loper Review is brought to you by Nebraska Star Beef.
The Nebraska Star Beef Pure Promise. No antibiotics, no hormones, humane treatment of animals, USDA choice or higher, a price that is always fair, and satisfaction guaranteed. At Nebraska Star Beef, we pay close attention to what we feed our families and are passionate about delivering beef that you can feel good about serving to your family. Visit us at nebraskastarbeef.com for more information.